So, Farrah, we're here to
Yes.
talk about secrets of celebrity sex tapes. Can you
Yes.
can you break down what fans can expect from this series and your episode in particular?
Yes. So my episode in particular, I get to sit down with all of you. And basically I'm just really getting behind my mental health journey, and some of the trauma and working through resentments, that probably led to the release of my celebrity sex tape. And this is the first time I really sat down to think about it. And I give thanks to my trauma center work so that I could do this.
And what drew you to this docuseries and why do you think that now was the right time for this particular project?
I didn't choose the time. I'm just not self-willing it. I was approached by the production company. So I think Annie is just doing the right thing by talking about this, between our cell phones, non-consent culture, women being blamed, men not having any consequences. I think there's just a good conversation that we can all learn from by coming together, looking back at history and being present in 2025 with everything. So, yes, it's a good time.
And I feel like you touched on some of these topics right with what you just said, but what do you hope that viewers take away from learning more about your story in particular?
I hope that they can learn no matter if you have ups and downs in your life. You make mistakes, you hang out with the wrong people, you have poor influences, bad environments, that your past does not define you. Your present, you can still create whatever you want. You can still be whoever you want and never give up on your mental health and your happiness. So I really hope that that shines, and, people just have a healthier and happier, intimate life.
Hmm. And how did it feel to revisit this chapter in your life? I'm sure there was a lot of emotions that came up looking back on this.
I had a lot of emotions. I was highly surprised with who was in the episode and commenting, or random people who said they worked with me that never did. But I think overall, I was just surprised by the growth, and looking back at some of like these really old clips of me when I was very suicidal, very depressive, very in not a healthy, happy way, but just kind of going through a mental crisis. And I think that is the beauty of looking back at yourself and giving yourself some grace, some self compassion, and saying, hey, I really needed to improve on my self esteem. And here I am today, showing up the best I can and still working on myself. So it was a wow. I'm still wow. I'm still growing. I'm still growing up with everyone. So it's been a beautiful journey.
And I know you just mentioned you were surprised at some of the people who were a part of the episode. Who were some of the people that surprised you the most?
I think recently, because of like my comedy show, seeing Dr. Drew never mentioned that he showed up to do this. Also, I got to catch up with Dr. Jen. I saw Dr. Jen, who I got to do couples therapy with,
Mhm.
commented in there. And she also was like, oh, I forgot I even did that. My father, Michael's in there, to all the Teen Mom fans. And yeah, he never told me that he showed up to do that. So I think we're going to be highly surprised with what comes out of everybody's mouth.
I was going to ask about your father's appearance and if you had known that he was going to be a part of this. When you
Mm.
found out that he was on the show, what was your reaction to that, and how is your relationship with your father like today?
Yes. So today I don't really talk to my father or my mother. And I think, that just times of them talking out
Mhm.
about me without my consent, it really does bother me, just because of the therapy, thousands of thousands of dollars I've spent on that for my family over the years. It just doesn't seem to have worked. So overall, I did send my dad the preview, like everyone can get a clip of.
Mhm.
And I just, I thanked everybody for their words. If it was good, if it was bad, if it was positive, if it was incorrect, I just thanked everyone, even Dr. Drew from Teen Mom reunions. I thanked him for his words. And yeah, I think everyone's entitled to their own opinion. But I think just listening to it straight from my mouth is probably the best thing.
So, looking back, is there anything that you would want to change about your past, or is this just all part of your story that made you who you are today?
I would say from my trauma center, there is no regrets in my life. And I think being a survivor of your darkest days, your wildest moments that you've had to live through, and gain agency over your life, that is something to never regret or feel bad about. I think that's something to empower yourself with and pick yourself up and keep moving forward on. So no, there's no regrets. And I think I've had a lot of wild days and times and sad moments. So I think living happily, being in my prime that I am today, that shows you the work that you invest in yourself and your mental health. It will really pay off. And so I just, big hug to everyone who's been along this journey with me. And I'm just so grateful for everyone's support and never giving up.
And speaking of this journey, we followed you since you had your daughter, Sophia, and you have such a strong bond with her today. Have you had any conversations with her about this situation regarding this docuseries?
Yes. I mean, I sent the link to my daughter as well. And I just
Mhm.
said, what do you think about this? I think she wanted to see more clarity because she was not there on set with me. She did not fly out to New York when I recorded this for the show. And so, she just had her thoughts of like they could have shown more of the full story rather than leaving it in kind of like a limbo and up in the air still. But Sophia knows the real story. She doesn't remember herself being with me along this story. So it was kind of good to show her, where it was and where it is today with everyone else.
And could you talk a bit about your bond with your daughter? Because I feel like you have such a strong connection with her and like how you've been able to develop into this like such a strong mother-daughter relationship.
Yes, I think, the only thing I can say is I definitely want to have her live her own life journey. And from my life, maybe just public school kid, I just knew like what was toxic for me. And I've kind of had her be homeschooled, automated school. And I think like that has what's kept us really, I think I always give this tip to parents. Never let other distractions get in between you and your child. And I think that keeps your bond strong, authentic, honest, and there's no like power struggle. And I think that's what I grew up with. I really had a lot of blank spaces. I didn't really know my parents. I had power struggles and I didn't really feel safe or supported. So, yeah, that's all I tried to do is do a safe home, a transparent home, and what's age appropriate will follow. So, yes.
Now, I know that you just talked a bit about your relationship or your how things are going with your parents and your past with your parents.
Yes.
Looking to the future, do you have any hope or want to reconcile with them maybe one day, or is that something that you're just not interested in now?
I really healed my mother wound, my mommy issues. I even joke about them now in my comedy show. So I think, after you spent hundreds of thousands of dollars that clearly are not working, you just have to say some people will never, you have to accept people for where they are. You can't help them be healed if they're not healed. So I've spent that time there and I really needed to invest in myself. And that's true. I think everyone saw that. Like, hello, Farrah, check in with self. And I think I took that very seriously. And I think that's why I'm in a successful place now. So yeah, I wish my parents all the best. I know that I say hi to all my fans that they see every day, and that comes back to me. So I wish my family all the best wherever they are and whatever they're doing.
And looking at the future, I know you just talked about your comedy show, but what's next for you? Are there any projects you like to tease or any other ventures that you're excited about right now?
I am super excited. Well, I do have a new memoir, and my first one did amazing. And I think that was just at the very beginning of my
Mhm.
life. And so now that I've lived this very full life, I cannot wait to put that into words. And also, Mrs. Sophia is doing her first book of her own.
Oh my
So,
gosh.
yeah, I cannot wait when the right time is to talk more about those things. But there's a little sneak peek for you.
Okay, well, I'm excited to hear more about that when the
Yes,
timing is right.
yes.
And last question, but could you describe this docu-series in 3 words?
Healing, wild, and I think it's a little I would say shocking.
Okay.
Healing, wild, and shocking in 3 words.
Okay.